people can see you.
Let this run. I'm gonna let this run. I love intro. All right. Welcome to the show. As promised, I do have a mystery guest on. This is somebody that should have been on over a year ago. We just now getting around to it. So if you look into the person directly to my right, or your left, my right, this is Mr. Derron Flood. And let me go ahead and set the tone for anybody that's watching and people that will watch later on. This is not the guy that you go into a room and you say, "Oh, I got, I bet you ain't got this." This ain't the guy that you want to put your books up next to. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and set the tempo right now. This guy got some books. That's why I enjoy talking to him, because I feel like I can talk to him. This guy's been in the game for a long time. He's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, and we'll see what he gives us tonight. Who knows? But I definitely want to just appreciate you, Flood, for coming on with the BCL team and just talking to the community in general. We're going to have some fun. We ain't going to be on here long, but we're definitely going to have some fun. But I just kind of wanted to start off things with, for those who may not know, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey. And then I got something I want to add as well.
Okay. I'll start with the personal me before we get into like the nerd me and the comic me and all that stuff. I think, getting to know people outside of nerddom is important because, we're who we are first before we're nerds. So I'm Derron Flood. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. Athlete, coach, motivator. I own a gym in Norfolk, Virginia. It's called Fitness First Training Services. And I think like being a nerd is a big part of my identity as well. I'm not like super fanatical unless you're talking about Nighthawk. But yeah, I'm as involved in comic books, especially Black comic books, as any one person, even though, I have all of these directions that I head in as a professional. What's weird is I have like this duality about myself, like being a nerdy jock. And coming up, it was one of the things that I kind of suppressed. Not just like being an act, and this is me standing on my soapbox. Like I was the number one recruit in the country coming out of high school in track and field. I went to the University of South Carolina. I was an All-American there, so I did really well. And if you're post 35, post 30, being nerdy in the locker room, there are like two different directions, like completely. Like you would brag, you in comic books? Like what you talking about? Like, no, it was hip hop music, chicks, and who can lift the most weights. You know what I mean? And that's basically all it is. So it's something that I suppressed about myself for a really long time, and I regret that. I absolutely regret it. Because again, it's a big part of who I am. And when I started getting more confident in who I was as an individual, I started slowly bringing back comic books. I started really enjoying comic books. And if you're, like I said, if you're in the 30s, 40s, for most people our age, X-Men, the animated series, was like the catalyst for most all people that I know. We were into that. Then it was Batman, the animated series. And I mean, y'all know how it was. Like 90s, I'm a stand for 90s animated superheroes. And so that's where it really started for me. Comic books specifically, I was so in love with X-Men, the animated series. I had to know what was happening next without having to wait a Saturday or for a season. And like, so I started going back into the Claremont stuff, and before him, I mean, just, and that's where it started for me. So since 92, I think it was July 13th, 19.
You know the date.
Yeah, July. So that's important to me because I actually opened my gym in July, and the greatest superhero of all time also was created in July, and that's
right. 1966.
Yeah. So
like July 1966. Hey, just do your research, man. Just do your research.
Right. So July is a big month for me. So yeah, I just went back and started buying comic books, man. going to small conventions and just doing as much as I can. But when I got into sports, like really into sports, I kind of like took a step back. And then I started getting back into it about 2011, and I haven't stopped since then.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, if you're 35, 30-ish, X-Men was your passport to all of what we're doing right now, the X-Men
Right.
animated series. And unfortunately, yes, we had to wait Saturday to Saturday. Now these kids got it easy, dude. You can literally pull up your phone and any
Right.
episode you want to watch. I remember missing episodes, having to go outside with my dad and cut grass and being in tears.
Right.
Wanted to see what was going on. And hey, listen, you never knew when they was gonna run that rerun.
Right. Right. And then don't let your friends spoil it for you. You know.
And then the toys that came with that.
Right.
You know, you had an allowance. You say that. I mean, we can talk about. We grew up around the same age, so we grew up around the same time with that, man. You know, when I want to just kind of. I told you I want to add something to who you are. Honestly, bro, it's weird. You know, ignorance is so bliss. I never knew that there were black spaces on Facebook. I thought black folks just kind of integrated themselves into white spaces. There was no like there wasn't enough black people to say, hey, we're going to make our own group. And your Blerd-Core was actually the very, very first black space I ever went into. And the cool thing about it, it could have just been like typical anime spaces. I'm not hating on not typical anime. Typical Blerd spaces is all anime, just 24/7. However, with Blerd-Core, you get your social politics, you get your anime, you're basically gonna be in a grocery store because you're gonna get a little bit of everything. And I remember coming in there, and the very first person I saw was you, and the very first thing you said was, go read some comics. Because you were talking to some guy, and he was quoting something, and he was wrong. He was like, hey, man, go, you need to go get on some comics. I'm like, well, who is this guy? And then you started posting your books, and I'm like, this guy has an attitude, a flavor about his position with these black comics that I've never seen. And when you're in white spaces, you almost can't post black stuff because somebody gonna say something out the side of their neck. Right. You go to Facebook jail. But it was a place where people, honestly, at the time, I really do believe it was the only place online that you probably go to and just talk black comics. Can you just tell us a little bit about, let's back up before I even got in there. Can you talk about a little bit about, for those who don't know, Blerd-Core is another group that is on Facebook. It's basically the framework for for the reason why I built some other groups or whatever. But Blerd-Core, what made you decide I need to build this group, and what was going on in your mind?
So first, I really appreciate the acknowledgement. It really means a lot. As you know, personally, like I am for black people. One of the things that I have come to understand is, especially with creating things, I never enjoyed the social politics of comics. I always like the action. I love the fantasy. But when it came to the social politics of comic books, they've always been trash to me. Literally, I hated them. But it was a form of escapism for me, and I was okay with. Hold on, 1 second. So it was a form of escapism for me, and I knew that I wanted to have a space where we could celebrate us unapologetically, because like you said, there are some spaces on. Did I win? Hold on 1 second.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's working on something. I can't say what he's working on, but he's working on something. And he needs this moment. I'll jump in while you talking. Okay. Yeah, man, it was just an amazing thing to see, and I got a lot of good information out of it, and just being proud of your black books, a space where you're proud of black books. Oh, all right, congratulations, man! Congratulations, congratulations, man! It must have been something big, man. Cause
I don't play no games. Look, I
don't
play no games.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Look, I don't play no games. You know the grades on that too. I don't play no games.
Listen, one thing about this guy that I told myself I wasn't going to drop any names, but there's certain people in our spaces that they have a certain niche, and they just don't have the niche. They do it extremely well, unlike anybody else. You got the Robert for them who does the Europe not European uh,
International.
international comics, and like he's in a whole space by himself. We just kind of sit back and watch. You got, people that's in the space, and like yourself, if I'm gonna tell you right now, if Derron shows you a comic that's slab and it's not eight, it's probably for sale. It's not eight. It's just like I used to sit back and say we used to post, oh, there's probably a book in here that's like a 9.4 and 9.2. No, sir. Absolutely not. It's not. Do you remember that commercial? You probably do because you grew up saying somebody. You remember that commercial? It's Nerf or nothing.
Yes.
It's not eight or it's nothing. It's not eight or nothing. And you know what? It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. And if you're sending in those books, I'm not even going to ask you. If you're sending in those books and they come out not eight, you have a freaking special skill. You're blessed by God because there's not a lot of people that can do that. But he's got probably the most 9/8s I've ever seen, even black or white spaces. And that's dope. I think that's dope. Not just because of the investment side, and we can definitely talk about that, but just that, I'm going to go, you will turn down a 9.6 or 9.4, and sometimes go after that 9.8, you will save the money. Whatever you got to do to go and get that 9.8. I think one of the things that you said that you were working on a while back was the complete Black Panther run, getting in the 9.8. Is that you still working on that, or is that done?
No, so that's done. So I do own, and I brought some books with me, but I didn't bring that run. I have the entire volume 1 and 9.8 Black Panther, the Kirby run. Yeah, so I have 1 through 15 and 9.8.
And granted, it's just 15 books, but you got to ask yourself how many 9.8s are in some of those. Like number ones, you're gonna probably catch a bunch of them, but as you go down the line, right, you ain't gonna see, like, it's rare to see some 9.8. It's rare to see anything past a 9. You got to really hustle, be in some auctions, be in some spaces to catch a lot of these books. So I respect anybody that goes after that particular niche. I'm gonna let you finish if you can remember where you left off.
Right. So the inspiration came from like understanding the importance of creating things. Like when you create things, you can control your narrative, right? And that's even from a writer's standpoint or a artist standpoint. As an entrepreneur, one of the things that I've noticed, and I've competed in CrossFit at a really high level as well. When I would go into those spaces, they played country music. It was Blue Lives Matters flags everywhere. It was just really uncomfortable for somebody who was a non-white person or somebody who isn't like a military gung-ho person. And I consider myself a insanely progressive person. So I was just like, you know what? I get the same vibes from these comic book spaces. If I want to share, like, I couldn't proudly share my Black Panther comic collection, especially like versus the KKK or something like that, without getting some type of backlash. Because people just aren't with that. The other thing was like my comic book collection really exploded around 2012, 2013. That for me, and I'm with you on the Bronze Age. I know you like to tell people the Bronze Age is the best age, and I agree with you. But there's another age that I love more than any of them. And it's the all new, all different age. Everybody hated it. But for me, that was the first time that I saw non-white males that were heroes. There were Black people, there were gay people, there were women, there were Asian people. And I thought that was cool. That was the thing that was missing from what I thought was important in comics, the socio-political part. And so like I grabbed all of that stuff. I'm not exaggerating. Like I have America Chavez in 9.8. I got it all in 9.8. I got Spider-Gwen in 9.8. I have the Ultimates in 9.8. I literally have all of that, all new, all different stuff. Amadeus, I have that in 9.8. Like I have it all in 9.8 because I was so excited about the representation part. Like I didn't even care if the stories was horrible. I was just so infatuated by the fact that these companies were actually trying for a chance to be more inclusive, and that really meant a lot to me. So I have all of that stuff. I mean, Miss Marvel. I have it all in 9.8.
Do you think though? I'm gonna go a little deep. Do you think that now to respond to how you feel? I feel the exact same way. There's a lot of books I got back into because I got to go back even further because hell, you brought up something that really hits home for me: the jock/nerd thing. Like I was dealing with that in college too. Like most of the football players sitting beside me was chicks, weightlifting, drugs, and touchdowns. And then but then on the entertainment side, I'm gonna go get on these sticks, get on this Madden game, get on this 2K. That was it. Reading was just not something that folks was like trying to do, and I kind of succumbed to that and said I'm gonna pull back. And plus, this was the late '90s was horrible for comics because they were doing some wild stuff, and the sales was crazy. It wasn't until Tobey Maguire and the Blade thing happened to where we kind of had seen a little uptick. But I had literally walked away from comics.
Same.
Probably into 2010. But then I was just getting white books because of speculation. I was trying to grab Iron Man's. It wasn't until 2018 with Black Panther that I actually started collecting Black. So a lot of you guys that have been collecting Black back in the 90s, way back then, I was in this mind frame, and I have to admit it, and it was a horrible place. And a lot of people, I think, if they were honest with themselves, they'll be there too. We kind of looked at our Black heroes as sidekicks because we didn't know any better.
Or second rate.
And the worst of all, and I get on people about this all the time because this is where I was, we look at Black characters under the same lens as white folks do. Like you're second best, you're not as good. But now that I've dipped down into some research, I'm like slapping myself like, yo, these characters was dope. What do you mean Valkyrie was this? What do you mean Black Panther was... I was just so ignorant back then. I didn't know any better. But I dealt with those same issues. And fast forward, I probably started collecting Black right around when the Black Panther movie came out. So the Spider-Gwens, I literally walked into the shop, saw a bunch of her number ones. I turned my lips up at them. I turned my nose up at them, sorry. And I'm slapping myself. I should have went back and grabbed those all new things. And I thought at the time it was a gimmick. Now fast forward to 2022, those are the books to have. And I got some I got like 4 first appearance of America Chavez's. They're not slabbed. And now, another thing too, a lot of folks that have, I got to slow down a little bit, but a lot of guys that have gone out and already got these books slabbed years ago, folks like me that's trying to do it now, you got to wait 6 months to get a lot of these books graded. It ain't, unless you're trying to pay a little bit more money or whatever. But I'm going to let you take it back over again.
Yeah. And so like, it was super important that, I just wanted to create a space, and I was like poaching people, like, and it wasn't me poaching people. It was, about folks in general. Like you have to be a certain type of person if I want you in my space. And so like, I met Rico, I met you, I met Jay, I met some of these guys were like, I Facebook friend them first just to see what type of people they were. And I was just like, okay, cool. They're in the comics. You know what I'm saying? Like in the comics, like I'm into comics. Just casually. And it meant a lot to me. So when I first started Blerd-Core, I was like, man, I would really like a space for brothers to be able to get together and celebrate Black superheroes. Like I don't even want to hear nothing about Iron Man. I just don't want, because there's 1,000 million different rooms that have Superman and Iron Man and Batman. Like we don't even allow that in Blerd-Core. It's not welcome, because we are the same people who want to post our superheroes in those big groups. We get shitted on, and it's unacceptable. So I wanted to have a safe space for brothers and sisters to be able to get together and celebrate our heroes. It means a lot that I consider myself one of those people who can provide the security for us in that space.
I want to touch on something though, which is weird. I'm not trying to shoot down anybody. There are people though that are in spaces like these that are uncomfortable because there's a multitude of Black things. Like, wait a minute, you're in a Black space. Why do we need to have Black space to talk about white heroes? Granted, Punisher might come up, but in conjunction to an issue he was in with a Black character.
Right.
But for us to just sit here and just grind on Superman and Batman and stuff, there's white spaces. Those white guys ain't gonna turn you away for talking
Nope.
about their heroes. We gotta have a space just to talk about our stuff.
Right.
What's? But there are people that are uncomfortable. Black people that are
Right.
uncomfortable in these spaces talking about black heroes. Like, why y'all so excited about it? Oh, they ain't shit. That and third. And I'm like, what? What? What are you talking about, man? But I
So
guess it's the reconditioning of the mind. I
right.
really think it's the reconditioning of the mind.
And so a part of being disenfranchised is not having exposure to and also being celebrated like the same. And so the only way that I can personally combat that stuff is by saying, look, they're not welcome here. You know what I'm saying? Like, no offense, there's a million rooms. For every one black space, there's 1,000 white spaces for Batman
Yeah.
and Superman and Goku and all of these other people. Like, they're just not welcome here. And there's times where I go into those spaces and talk about Batman, Superman, and Goku, but I don't even do that in my own space because I want to have a space exclusively that black excellence, and black superheroes are the epitome of black excellence. Because if somebody can say that Superman is a role model to people, why can't a black superhero also be a role model to black people? That's
It's almost,
important.
it's almost like black people can be a role model to black people. It's almost how they write black people. We'll put and we'll touch on this a little bit. Like one of the biggest things that had just kind of come out, what they're going to do with the new Batman. And I'm gonna let you talk about. I know you have a different take on some of these legacy characters. So, but he's in New York, but he's only in New York working. Whereas Batman covers the globe, the black Batman is almost like old policemen in the 60s. You only allow Negro to work in your area. Don't arrest the white folks. Don't you go outside your precinct because we gonna take your badge. And I haven't read the book, and I hate speaking on stuff I haven't read. But I hope that's not what we're getting. But that's probably what we're getting. But I'm probably getting a little too ahead of myself here. But you were going on about folks not being welcome here, and we got thousands of space out there for white heroes. What is your take though? As we did get the all new Marvel, a lot of those characters were legacy characters. Ish. Some of them were not, but they, nothing is 1,000% original. You can go back and draw some stuff from Falcon, who's original character, but you can probably go and grab some inspiration. You definitely grab some inspiration from Black Panther, Luke Cage. I don't think nothing's wrong with that. But what is your take on some of the legacy characters? Where do you stand on that?
I appreciate you bringing this up because I feel strongly about it.
I
I
know you
hate it.
do.
I'll be completely honest. I absolutely hate it. And again, I can just go back to my own personal experience as a professional. I decided to do my own thing because I felt like I was worthy and I had the confidence to do it. I trust myself. I invested in myself so much so that other people have wanted to invest in what I have going on by way of franchising and all things because I was working, because I was confident in myself to do my own thing and be who I am. I do not want to hang all black folks because I absolutely love y'all to death. But like I feel like we haven't evolved socially enough to put our foot down and say, we have our own ideas. We can do our own things without being placeholders for legacy mantles. I think personally, and this is for me, it's offensive that the only time that we can be celebrated is when we are in white spaces. There isn't a more white space than under the bat hood. There isn't a more white space than wearing that Superman cape. There isn't a more white space than working in corporate America. There isn't a more white, like, why don't we have the confidence to do our own thing? I don't buy that stuff at all because I'm unwilling to invest in things that Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world, right? And so I want to be able to put hundreds of dollars in Kickstarters from original characters. When Black Panther comes in, I buy 1,000 of those. When Vixen drops, I buy 1,000 of those. Like I really just want people to be able to have conversations about Vixen like they have about Wonder Woman. I
So
want to be able to have conversations about Black Panther like they do Black Batman. Like that Black, it's just I can't get with them. And
so
then the idea of Black Batman, it's weird to me. Like I just go ahead. I'm
so
sorry.
so what about and it's okay because we might differ here. What about the Nubia, the Miles Moraleses of the world? Because they still, I mean, do you first of all, do you even fool with them, or and do you and do they kind of still fall up under that Batman umbrella, Black Batman umbrella? What's the, and if you do like them, what is it about them that you're like, I'll give them the thumbs up, but maybe with these characters, no, or is it like let's just break that down for me.
Right. So Nubia isn't Wonder Woman. Nubia is Nubia. That's
Yeah,
first and foremost.
yeah, you're right, she is,
We call her black Wonder Woman,
but
but
she's
she
her,
has her own identity.
yeah.
And even though it's derived, and I don't have any problem with having inspirations, right? Everybody has their inspirations, but Nubia has her own monkey, and that's important. Like being able to have your own name is super important. And I talk about social politics all the time and how Black folks are named after European people. And the easiest way to relinquish those things is have your own identity. Nubia is not Diana. Nubia is Nubia. So I'm on board with that.
And
But
also too, because I screwed up. Nubia is actually Wonder Woman because she says it in 20204. I am Wonder Woman of the floating island. So just like Diana is Wonder Woman where she's at, Nubia was Wonder Woman on her own island. So she's her own thing. So you're right, they're two separate. Granted, they're sisters, different forms of clay, dark clay, white clay. So that was a horrible analogy on my point. But keep
right.
going.
So, but with Miles Morales, even though I like him, I think he's a cool brother. He's definitely Diet Spider-Man. I mean, I know people going rag on me. I have his books, but like, I'm not hanging from the rafters talking about how he is an original character. He is absolutely, I mean, it is what it is. He's just really popular and really cool. I like Spider-Punk. He's another Diet Spider-Man. But if somebody asks me, is he a legacy mantle holder? I'm not going to, just because I like him, I'm not going to say, oh,
Let him
no, he's
look.
not. I mean, he absolutely is. I mean, it is what it is.
Gotcha.
Like, and we need to be honest with ourselves and have those conversations and say, you know what? This shit is lame, but I like it.
You know what? And I can take that because guess what? You know me, triathlon is lame as hell, and I love triathlon. I
But
love him.
he's an original character. I love that you love him.
Yeah, he's an original character, and I swear, if he, because listen, I tell people this all the time, and I'm kind of getting to the MCU a little bit. Marvel does not care who you are, kind of equal opportunity. Groot is a freaking tree. They made Groot famous. Like nobody was
He
looking
don't say
for
anything.
Yeah.
I say anything, but he's wildly popular.
He's wildly popular. If they decide to bring Triathlon and Rage, they're going to be popular overnight just because they're with the right brand. They're right. Now DC, I don't know, but with Marvel, like honestly, Derron, they can put you in the MCU, and you'll be your inbox will be blown up. Like they will make you they can make anybody like dummy famous, man. Like, and I love that about them.
Right.
I love that about them.
Right.
So, kind of want to switch gears a little bit. Where do you see, and this bothers me every day, and I probably shouldn't. I probably got a problem. I don't know. I feel, and we've kind of talked about this offline a while back ago. I kind of feel like our community is very small, but very, very mighty, very, very strong. There's probably close to $1 million in our inside of our collection alone, and those are our own personal investments. But where do you see the Black comic book community as a whole, at large, growing, shrinking? What is the state of the people that actually go and buy these books? What do you think we're at right now?
I think we're growing because of people like yourself, because of people like Richard, because of people like Paul, because of people like Derek, because of people like Mark, because of people like myself, because of people like Letitia. We're excited about these books. And one thing about excitement is contagious, especially when people see themselves in a state of excellence. And again, I think superheroes are the epitome of excellence because they're they're overcoming social issues, they're saving the day. There's nothing more gratifying than being able to help somebody. And that's what the whole superhero story is. So if we can get more in tune, and I mean, think about it like this, seriously. Black fantasy is still very new.
It is.
Very
And,
new. And for
and
some reason or another, people don't want to acknowledge that Black superheroes also fall in that genre. You know what I'm saying? And so it's growing. I see you're growing all the time. I get people who comment, who ask me all the time, like, how can I get in? People who have no interest in superheroes. I mean, street dudes. They're like, look, man, Black Panther kind of cool. Like, I was just like, look, to the LCS, man, we can get you a pool started.
Yeah. Crap, I was gonna say something. You're right. It's growing. Granted, there's probably more people that are here for the movies and shows, and that's great because you gotta catch the fish. You gotta catch the fish, then you gotta clean the fish, then you can eat the fish. So it's a process. Getting people you gotta get the folks in the room at the table, and then say, "Hey, man, I know you really enjoyed that movie, but as well, man, there's the stories. There are separate, but there's the stories. Not only are there the stories, but there's a lot of money on the back end side to turn over a couple of dollars here and there. And maybe you might have something in your collection right now that might be $30 raw. But that's $30 that you didn't have. That's $30 that you probably didn't spend for that book.
Right,
that you got in the edition. And I just think comic book education, somebody's gotta eventually get around to that. I think we gotta get a lot of people. I think we gotta get to a certain point and then have those conversations with people, and maybe on a personal level. But I think my last thing I'm gonna do here with you, and if we do a part two, we just gonna have to do a part two. So I think as time's gonna go on, I'm gonna want to get your input. I'm gonna want to hear, what's Flood thinking about when these different things drop, because I value your opinion so much. I did this with you before, but I'm gonna do it with you again. I really kind of like this, and you're the type of person that could play along with this. We're gonna do a little wordplay. I'm gonna give you 10 different things. Give me the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Blerd-Core.
Black as fuck. Extra black.
Extra black. Wow. I know last one's gonna blow your mind. Last one's gonna get a little social political, but it's gonna blow your mind. We already talked about Miles. You kind of told me. I had some of them written down. America Chavez.
Queen.
Interesting. Riri Williams.
The future.
James Rhodes.
Whack.
Spawn.
Hey, you won't expect it.
Hey, you touched my soul on that one.
Listen to me, but my James Rose collection is crazy though.
Crazy? Yeah, I believe you. Right. Spawn.
White folks.
You know what? We could drop a pin right there. I talk about it all the time, bro. I really think when it comes to Spawn, bro, like he's so spooky and crazy, and like Todd McFarlane is like nuts. Black folks open up the book, close it, whistle, put it back on the shelf.
Right. I mean,
we'll find the covers, but we ain't finna read through that.
Listen, there's Spawn groups with thousands of people, and maybe 3 of them will be black in those groups.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I think I'm on number.
And I got some books that I just pulled some out the stores. Just some.
Yeah, we can get to the book. I tell you what, I just gave you 5. Let's see those books, and the last thing we're gonna wrap up with is some more 5 more word plays. Okay. Go ahead.
So you want me to get my books now, or
yeah, whatever you want to show. So let me go to the comments. I know I'm doing a horrible job on the comments. Somebody was like, "Preach the Ron." Yep, Triathlon, 3D Man. Marvel doesn't care. They just want money.
So I brought all slabs. Most of them are 9.8. But just they're random ones, man. I think I got 324 slabs now. So I'm just picking up ones that I thought were cool. Super rare book, Divinity #1, the 1 in 4 variant. The print run on this is 250. So if you have one of these, you're super lucky.
Wow.
So a lot of people talk about the most powerful superhero ever. If you're not talking about Divinity, you don't know what you're talking about because
You
he is
know.
absolutely up there with all of the superpower guys.
And you know what? I try to make the argument because, and Derron, this is one of the people Derron told me on, Miranda, right? Is her name, the X-Men
Yes.
you mentioned. I was like, oh, she'll beat anybody. And literally somebody said, well, they tried to do the same. They tried to blink Divinity out of existence. He literally came back and said, don't do that. This guy got it, man. This guy,
Right.
he got it.
All right, so here's another one that I really enjoy, and this is by a friend of mine, Sanford Green. He's also a Gamecock. I remember um, when he first started out, he was charging people $20 and $30 for commissions, and this was maybe around 10 years ago. And I told him then that he was super talented. I think the first book that he got after we had that conversation was Power Man and Iron Fist, and I remember seeing him, and I was just like, "Look, you got your first big gig." And he was like, we had a conversation. He was like, "Yo, I told you can do it, yada yada yada." I got a ton of commissions from him. From that, I actually have 2 Bitterroot pages that I haven't. Yeah, I ain't playing. I, see, I should have brought out most of my original art. I got like 20 or 30 pieces.
Well, you're in luck. I'm gonna be doing original. So this whole thing started with the community talk. I got to get around to talking to folks. I will be talking to Otis about original art, but then as soon as I got the phone with Otis, I said, "There's no way Deron's gonna let me just talk to Otis and not talk to him." So our part 2 will definitely be whatever else we're gonna talk about, but then bring that original art because that's a that's a whole nother world. If you be honest about it, that's a whole nother world in collecting.
One of ones.
But it's just as important because if I'm a casual when it comes to original art because I don't own none. However, I think they're important. But I'll say this: isn't that the actual paper that they actually wrote on?
Yep.
Is it that original?
Yep.
So like, come on, how much closer can you be to the artist? A comic book, anybody can print that, but you're talking about paper they actually ate and breathed on. So keep going, keep going.
All right, so speaking of Sanford Green, I have Bitterroot #1 signed by the entire creative team. So their signatures all there. And this one is super special because Sanford Green decided to do a full commission on the back of it.
Yeah, like ain't nobody got that.
No. One of one.
One of one.
Yep. And I made sure that he wouldn't do it. He said he did this thing on a lot of different Bitterroot comic books, but not the cover B. He said, "I'm the only person." And I made him make sure that I said, "Listen, man, I've been riding with you. Don't be lying to me, man." Like, so I'm the only person in the world with this cover that's signed by 3 people and has this commission on the back of it.
And you know how I know Bitterroot's going to knock out of the park on a movie or TV? Well, I think it's a movie, right? Because that freaking Lovecraft Country. Every episode you watch, you was thinking Bitterroot. Like, why don't we have a Bitterroot series yet? But keep going.
All right, so this one needs no introduction. This is the most valuable modern book out. Like, we're talking like super modern. Ain't nothing touching this. When I posted when I posted in rooms, people move out the way. So, this is the ultimate Fallout variant right here.
Now, what a lot of folks don't realize, whether it be a game or not, that book sold about a month or 2 ago. You remember how much it sold for?
It was $30-some thousand.
$30,000, and it could have been legit. We don't know. It was just that's never happened before, but that's in the books. It is what it is.
Right.
I honestly thought you were going to show the Black Panther one.
Did I? I didn't even bring that. Yeah, I didn't even bring that one, man.
But a lot of us know. But those of y'all who don't know, hey, I could pull it up, but just keep going. We'll next week now or whenever we meet again, we'll bring that one in.
All right. So this one that I purposely brought this one because this guy, he's my favorite Spider-Man. He reminds me a lot of myself. He's super radical, um, hard nosed, and it's this book right here is super rare. So this is the Dell Auto Amazing Spider-Man 10, first appearance of Spider-Punk.
I don't know, baby.
Yep.
You know, I wanted to ask you this: is it me, or I feel like when Spider Punk first came out, I assumed it was a white dude. I was like,
Right.
hear me,
You're right.
hear me. But I feel like white folks went crazy online.
Right.
That nigga took off his mask.
Yes.
With silence.
They stopped messing with him. They stopped messing with him.
I thought it was just me.
Right.
I said, I ain't read it yet or whatever.
Right. They stopped messing with him. But I follow like this Spider-Geddon stuff. Like this dude his attitude is horrible. He want to tear everything up. He like that whole punk mantra. It is him. He embodies that thing, man. I like Spider-Punk a lot, man.
Do you think he's going to be in the Spider-Verse that's coming up?
I hope so, for my collection's sake. I really hope so. So here's another super important book that I feel like it should. If you don't have it, you got to have it on your list of things to get. I mean, it's just that important. Giant Size X-Men 1.
Yeah.
You got to have this book, man.
If
like
you look at it by now, though, I mean, you need to take out a small loan because
right.
I mean, you're low grade, but still, you're gonna be paid. You're gonna get taxed.
You know, Storm is the queen of Mars right now. You need to have that in your collection. She's probably the most important Black character in comics right now. She's a whole queen.
She's the most popular
right.
Black woman, a real or fake right now. I open up my drawer and Storm pops out. Storm is everywhere right now, dude. If I close my laptop right now, open it back up, the first thing I'm gonna see is Storm. She's everywhere, dude.
All right, so this next comic book that I have, I was a big X-Men fan. It was my favorite superhero team of all time until about 2015 when this new supergroup came around. It's everything that I've wanted in a superhero team. I have this book and I have the first full appearance. I have the highest incentive for both of them. This is Avengers Zero, the first cameo of the Ultimates. And so the Ultimates is what Black Panther, Spectrum, Blue Marvel, America Chavez, and Carol Danvers. Yep. And so again, I have both of these in 9.8. They're both $1,000 books right now. So really cool to have these.
The cover A is the Vision cover, but that's the one. This one you guys want to get.
Yeah. Signed by Arthur Adams too. So this is cool. Here's another book that I got right before the pandemic, and I'm happy that I got it, man, because I don't think that I'll ever be able to get it again. The very first Black supervillain, female
supervillain, yeah.
Luke Cage 5 and a 9.8.
And people will cry and say, "Well, what makes her a super dude? What if she's not a supervillain? Then Kingpin's not a supervillain."
Exactly.
Exactly.
But in the Power Man and Iron Fist series that Sanford Green wrote, she has some feats that show super strength for her.
Yeah, she's not like woman. She's got some. You can't run up on her. I wouldn't fight her.
No.
I wouldn't fight her.
I didn't think I brought it, but I did bring it. So here's the Ultimates #1, the variant, the first full appearance. Oh, also this is the first appearance of Ayo too. For the Dora Milaje. So this is a double first appearance, guys. I actually gave one of these books away, the regular cover, but this has two super important first appearances in it: the Midnight Angels Ayo, and then you have the Ultimates. So if you find these #1s, cover A, cover B, there's a few incentive variants. Pick them shits up. I really like the hip hop variant one because I'm a big hip hop fan. They got the Firm. Is it the Firm or is it the Score? I think it's the Score.
My hip hop is Rest Day, so
right. It's either the Firm or
if you're in the comments, let us know because I'm gonna be rested for that.
So this is the highest incentive variant for that. I brought this book out because I'm gonna run upstairs and get the original art for it.
Oh,
so Killmonger #1, the second print. So this is it here.
That's
And
the greatest. Listen, I'm gonna say this now. That he's probably, honestly, bro. This is Hershel talking. I can't speak for you. Can't speak no way. Other than the Hullen run, that motherfucker butts up. And it was a short. It was like a short. I love that run though. Every
so
story was good, bro. Every story was damn good.
yeah, from me to you, because I read a lot of villain stories, it might be the best villain story that I've ever read.
It is. It is. It is.
It-
No respect to Black Manta, and I guess you can consider Age of Apocalypse. And if you
right,
really want to reach, you probably
right,
gonna reach this far. Black Adam, maybe. I don't know.
right,
This one right here.
right.
But I need these writers. Whoever wrote that, I need them to get on everything else, bro.
Oh, I fell in love with Brian Hill. I think Brian Hill. Yep. Brian Hill wrote this. He also wrote Batman and the Outsiders. That was really good. Where I first got acquainted with him was what's the dude's name from Image comic books? Deathblow. What's his real name? What's Deathblow's real name?
You get on the image side, I get real casual. I couldn't tell. Somebody in the comments let us know. And also, by the way, it was the Fugees to score.
Right.
Somebody in the comments said that.
So yeah, I'm gonna go upstairs after I finish these and show people the original art. So here's another one that everybody loves. I got 5 of these. That's not an exaggeration. Blue Marvel.
I just got one. And I'm just happy with my one. Obviously, it is not everything you will see here, ladies and gentlemen, is a 9.8. Okay, so don't adjust your sense. Everything is a 9.8.
Michael Cray, yes, absolutely. Michael Cray. Who was that?
I don't know. It just came out of our group.
That Michael Cray story is amazing.
I gotta go back and read that. I'm gonna let you go back up and get that original art, and I'm gonna have to get off. But but yeah, get that original art. We definitely want to see it, and we'll go from there. Yeah. As y'all can see, ladies and gentlemen, he's not playing around, bro. Like, I'm on fire right now. You can only talk to Flood for so long. Your chains, you have to tuck all your chains in. All right, you got to do that. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you guys for watching. If you haven't already, our YouTube, our Instagram, our Twitter, make sure you go to those locations. You subscribe. You give us a thumbs up. That supports what we're doing right now. If you've been here for almost an hour, you might as well subscribe and like. Oh, Killmonger original artwork, right there.
Original art for the Killmonger book.
Wow. You see it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the actual stuff that the artist actually wrote on. There ain't no reprint. Reprint is the actual deal, man. Real deal Holyfield. Wow. Check out the website. Yep. Also check out our website, blackcomiclords.net. Flood just gave me something else to add. I didn't know Ayo was in that book, but I hadn't got around to doing the Ultimates yet. But we're definitely gonna add that in. I'm gonna credit you for that, Flood, on there. Hey, thank you, Flood, Blerd-Core, whatever. Listen, man. Listen, dude. You gave me more than what I asked for. I was like, we'll talk a little bit, but you gave me a lot of stuff, and your story was inspirational too, man. It really hit home with your upbringing, your humble beginning, your upbringing, and what you had to go through and being an athlete and being a Blerd. Those things really now they're starting to mix because just a little bit of everything is a Blerdish, so to speak. It depends on where you go, who you talk to. But listen, man, I appreciate your time that you took out. You could have told me no. You could have spent it someplace else. But we appreciate you. We're gonna circle back. Man, maybe we'll do something for Black History Month. You know, Black History Month is 365. Maybe we'll come back and do something. Whatever you got in your mind and your head to do, holler at me, holler at anybody on our team. I'll holler at you, and we'll collaborate on something, man. But this was a treat for me. If nobody else ain't got nothing out of it, I got something out of it, man, and it was dope, man. We're gonna definitely circle back. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for your time, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, man.